kind of ghost you will have heard of before. He doesn't make you scream or make a bolt for the door. Hey, he's just a little guy looking for friends. Casper!
Your dependable friend.
So if you've got a little trouble or you've taken a fall, he will soothe away your tears. All you got to do is call Casper!
Let's talk about some ghosty stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. So we did a poll recently. By recently, I mean like 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
About what people wanted to see movie-wise for an episode we were going to do. And Casper won, which I was surprised because there was some interesting things
What was
on
it
there.
up against?
It was up
Oh,
against Beetlejuice, I think.
Yeah.
Or what was
Or-
the other one? Like
'cause
Don't Look Under the Bed? Or
Don't Look Under the Bed was on there.
That was my vote.
Halloween.
Town, which we actually ended up
did,
doing
yeah.
anyway. And then there was the one I wanted to win was Tower of Terror because I remember watching that as a kid. Now, Casper, I don't really remember watching as a kid. Rewatching it, I realized I had seen it, and some of it was coming back, but it was kind of like a new experience again. But it won our poll, which is cool. So that's what we're going to talk on today. So I am even as a ghost, I exercise regularly. EXORCISE. I am your host, Jordan. I'm here with Joe. His favorite pie is Boo Berry. And I'm also here with Cam. If you got it, haunt it.
Yeah.
So I
Nice.
had one other one if my wife Madison was going to be on, but she's not. I was going to say ghouls.
Oh, why is she not going to be in it?
Ghouls just want to have fun. She's a little sick in the throat, and she doesn't really want to talk right now. But yeah, so quick shout out though before we start to Patreon. We have a new Patreon subscriber.
Yeah.
We keep talking about. So we have our regular Ryan Buds of Trivia with Buds. He's the regular. But Cole Phen,
Whoa.
who longtime listeners will know because he's been on the podcast before, he is a new Patreon subscriber. So thank you, Cole, and shout out to you.
Yeah.
He's getting some cool reward stuff. I think he
He is.
requested a spooky corgi.
Yeah, he's getting a spooky corgi. I'm
spooky
working on that
corgi.
right now. I'm
Yeah.
gonna see him on Wednesday or Thursday, so I'm gonna.
Is he
hand
coming out
deliver it to
here?
him. Yeah, only for like a day.
Oh, man, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, when he comes back for like a holiday or something, we'll have to get him back on the podcast and everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so thank you,
definitely.
Cole. That's awesome. Thank you, Ryan. And
Thanks, Cole.
yeah, thanks to everyone who listens too. That's great support and for all that. But also go throw us some money. So let's talk about Casper. It came out in 1995. It got a 44% on Rotten Tomato. And
Just one singular tomato.
Just one tomato. Rotten Tomato.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't have enough money for this show to have multiple tomatoes. Come on.
subscribe to our Patreon so we can buy
So we
multiple
can buy
tomato.
more
We're
tomato.
not Rockefeller
I mean,
over here.
Yeah, I mean, this tomato's even rotten. I mean,
I know.
so domestically, it did $100.3 million, which is good. I think it had a budget of about $50 million.
Yeah, it's not bad.
But worldwide, it did $287.9 million. So it did $187 million internationally. That's not bad.
No, it's pretty good.
That's pretty good, especially for like a kid's ghosty movie in 1995. Not too
Right.
bad.
Yeah.
So I'll give you guys a quick synopsis real quick of what this movie is. Paranormal psychologist and daughter go to a haunted house and are hired to get rid of the ghosts. Okay, there you go. That's what the whole story is about. It was directed by Brad Silberling. You may know him from more famous things as Doogie Howser MD episode.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out to NPH.
Yeah, he didn't really do much. He also did a series of Unfortunate Events movie with Jim Carrey. He directed that.
Garbage.
Yeah, I never saw it, honestly. And I tried to watch the Netflix one and got through like 2 episodes.
Shout out to NPH
Yeah,
again.
right? Good connection there. Good connection there. It had Bill Pullman in it, which is great. I know him from Independence Day and Spaceballs. I'm sure
Right, too.
most people know him from Independence Day and Spaceballs. Christina Ricci was in it. Everyone's favorite person in Black Snake Moan. And she was also Wednesday Addams in the Addams Family movies.
I kept on when I
And
was
in
talking.
Speed
to-
Racer.
She was in Speed Racer.
When I was talking to Jess about this beforehand, I just kept on going like, "Oh yeah," I was like, "Man, Winona Ryder's crazy in this movie," and I totally knew it wasn't her.
And
but I
you're
kept
waiting
on.
to see what
And
she
she was
said.
like, "It's Christina Ricci. Stop it. That's not. She's like, it's not a funny joke." And I was like, "I don't know what you're talking about. I think it's funny."
Aren't they twins? I thought they were the same person.
They're the same. They're the
They
same.
are the same person.
Yeah, Lil Winona.
They're close.
I think Christina Ricci played Katrina whatever in the Sleepy Hollow movie with Johnny Depp.
I believe she
right?
did.
Yeah.
What's her name? Katrina was something or other. Whatever.
Yeah. Do you remember when she also plays the girl in Heathers and in Beetlejuice?
I'm pretty sure. No, she was just recently in Stranger Things. Too.
Yeah, she was.
You know who I used to get mixed up? Winona Ryder and Sigourney Weaver. Not because of what they look like, because I had no idea what they actually look like, and their names were both such weird names.
Yeah, Winona Ryder. She was an alien, right?
Yeah, that one, an alien. I just saw her in Cabin in the Woods.
She was awesome in Avatar.
People are so confused right
she's
now.
good in Avatar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Way
okay.
to go, Winona.
And Fast and the Furious. Wait,
Yeah.
nope.
None of those people.
That was Paul Walker. It's totally, they don't even look the same.
So Christina Ricci's in it. Eric Idle is in this movie, co-creator of Monty Python. And then Kathy Moriarty, that you may know from Raging Bull. I don't know her from Raging Bull because I've never seen the movie, but that's a very popular movie. I'm sure Cam knows that movie because you are way more cultured than I am.
It's like one of the best boxing movies ever. It's
There
like
you go.
Scorsese's first movie.
What I didn't know is
Yeah,
Kathy
we're gonna watch
Moriarty, she was a voice of someone in Hey Arnold and Recess. So that lands
That
more on
sounded
our...
so familiar. That's
Yeah.
why her voice sounded so familiar.
Yeah, so
to
that
me.
lands more in like our realm of pop
Yeah.
culture stuff.
Who was she in Hey Arnold?
That was a burp by me. Her name was Tiss or Tish. It was a minor character who only showed up in 3 or 4 episodes.
Yeah.
Not quite sure. And in Recess, she Mrs. Finkelstein or something like that. Isn't that the lady who's like the old lady who's the yard duty or
what I
something?
thought.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
I'll look that stuff up.
Do you
real
remember
quick.
Tish and Hey Arnold? This is Tish. It's the teacher that Arnold had a crush on.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I do remember her
Yeah.
now. Okay, so that's who she played. So there's a weird thing right now in my videos that I've been getting copyright blocks on trailers for some reason. I don't know if that's a new thing. I thought trailers were just open. So I'm going to try and throw a trailer in right now. I think a 1995 trailer isn't going to get copyright blocked, but if it does and it doesn't show up, that's it. But I'm going to try and throw the trailer for Casper in right now.
Okay.
Boop.
For 100 years, he has wandered the halls of Whipstaff Manor. Waiting for someone.
There's a girl on my bed. Yes. Hi.
Casper.
Can you go invisible? That one's easy.
Now, life at Whipstaff Manor
Can I keep you?
will never be the same.
Cool.
Ghosts can't hurt you. Don't come near me, you spiteful spook. We share haunting stories, we throw parties. The parties are always pretty dead, though.
I feel like Oprah on hiatus.
What the hell do you think you're doing?
We have company.
Well, company loves misery. So, take a hike.
Get a grade. Dad.
Oh, one for all. Catch your pants before they fall.
You guys are disgusting, obnoxious creeps.
Thank you.
Universal Pictures and Amblin Entertainment
Are we scary or what?
invite you on a wild, wondrous ride
Hurry up, come on.
to the other side.
Smell it, Graham.
Casper.
Sorry.
That was a sick trailer.
Well, that was crazy.
That was a
Can you
great
believe that Dan Aykroyd's in it?
Yeah. Oh, you. Okay. So
Yeah,
we were going to
how
talk about
young-
that a little
How
bit.
young does Winona look, though?
Oh, Winona's so
She's
young.
so young in it. It's crazy.
Christina Ryder.
Ryder.
So let's get into a
I
plot.
just almost said Winona Applegate.
Winona,
We're just all over the board.
we are
Yeah.
so all over the
On
place.
task.
Winona Aguilera.
Yeah.
It just sounds too wrong. So let's get into a plot breakdown of this movie real
Okay,
quick
let's
here.
do it.
So you guys chime in anytime you want because
Okay.
I'm talking a lot and I'm starting to sweat because I'm talking so much. I'm that
Is that a
in-
thing that happens?
I'm that in shape that I sweat when I talk too much. So we are introduced to Whipstaff. That is the creepy manor that is abandoned, that an abandoned house in Maine that's haunted by ghosts. And did you,
Condemned.
did you guys think this thing looked like an Arabian palace? I was like, did Aladdin
Actually,
live here?
I was actually going to ask to see if you knew this. Do you know if it's a set or if it was a location or...
So let me jump into some fun facts here early. It was a set based off of an actual place in Barcelona called Casa Balto. So it was based
so
around
it's like
that.
it's a house that looks like a wolf dog.
Yes.
The inside of the house was sick.
Yeah. So it was based off of that, but it was a set. And do you know what the set was used for after this movie?
I feel like it's probably going to be like Dr. Seuss's The Grinch That Stole Christmas or something.
That's a good guess. Everybody by the Backstreet Boys filmed their music video.
No way.
It has the same look and vibe.
Yeah,
and everything.
exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So that's what that set is.
That's where they rocked their bodies.
That's where they rock their body. Yeah. Everybody.
Well, you do know Backstreet's back.
All right.
That's right. All right.
All right.
Whatever.
It's not that. That's right.
That's right.
Streets back. That's right.
That's right. You heard it here first. That's right. So we're introduced to the abandoned Whipstaff Manor. Now, next we meet Kerrigan and Dibbs. They're the antagonists. Kerrigan's late father left her the Whipstaff Manor after he died in his will.
And he gave all of his money to animal charities.
Yes, he gave, and she was very upset about this because she is a lady who is only about the money. She's not a very nice lady, so she was not happy. Ben. I was gonna say Ben Stein was the attorney who was giving it away, which is the first
some good
cool cameo.
cameos.
Yeah, this movie was filled with cameos and pop culture references. It was great.
He had to plug in the Clear Eyes.
Yeah, I was like Bueller. Shout back to another one of our episodes. So I think Dibbs and Kerrigan are married. Did you guys get that vibe?
No, they're not married, but like she has him wrapped around her finger.
Okay,
He was her attorney, wasn't?
I thought that he kissed her at one point in the movie, though.
Yeah, they did, but like not romantically.
It was like a we work together, and it's like this is a stick it to you kind of moment.
No, it was like they accomplished something and they were happy.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
They were happy, and so they had like that thing, and then he was like, "Whoa, this girl I've wanted forever." Like,
yeah, so he's kind of into her, but she's just like, whatever. I'm
she doesn't
using
care
you.
about him at
He
all.
was
Okay.
friend zoned. He was the Jorah Mormont. That's a Game of Thrones reference.
I have no clue.
I got it.
Okay. So they're not married. And Kerrigan is like, I don't want this house. She throws the deed in the fire. And what they realize is that the fire lets the invisible ink show through that says there's buried treasure ashore in that place. So they're like, treasure? Now I want this place because I want money. So that's why Kerrigan now wants to go to the house. So they go into the house and they meet the ghosts. And they're like, oh no, it's haunted. We need to get someone to get rid of this.
Yeah.
So they start hiring people. They first hire an exorcist. Is that guy supposed to be someone? Who was he?
I don't know why so there's a quote that he has, and for whatever reason, it has stuck in my brain ever since the very first time I saw this movie when I was like a kid. And it was when he goes, oh yeah, piece of cake, piece of crumb cake.
He's the crumb cake.
Then you can handle this.
It's no problem. It's like no problem whatsoever. Piece of cake, piece of crumb cake.
Yeah, like I at first was like, is this guy the original exorcist from The Exorcist? And that's supposed to be the jokes? I've never seen The Exorcist, so I was like, maybe. But then I looked up his like IMDb, and I'm like, he's no one.
Yeah. It's just a piece of crumb cake.
Yeah, he just loves a piece of crumb cake. And then his head gets turned backwards when he goes in to try to exorcise them. And next, we see a Ghostbuster. Dan Aykroyd comes running out and goes, who are you going to call? Not me.
He's like,
and
somebody else.
somebody else, and leaves. And I'm like, that's awesome that they
that
got
was a good
Dan
one.
Aykroyd, who's uncredited in it too. Like he doesn't even get a credit for this.
There's a
That's
lot
amazing.
of uncredited, really good cameos.
Yeah, it was so cool. Well, like later on, we get a cameo from Clint Eastwood.
Yep.
We get a cameo from Rodney Dangerfield, a cameo from Mel Gibson, and then the Crypt Keeper from Tales of the Crypt with the actual voice of the guy who's the Crypt Keeper.
Yeah, that was cool.
Super cool. So
that
tons
guy
of cameos.
that plays the
priest.
The priest is a character named Father Guido Sarducci, a fictional character created by the American comedian Don DeVello. And I guess this whole thing was that he is a United States. He works in the United States as a gossip columnist and rock critic for the Vatican newspaper.
So it was like
so
the
it
original.
was like a famous radio thing for like High Times, the like marijuana paper.
What's the dude who does Borat? What's his name again?
Sacha Baron Cohen.
Yeah, so he was like the original Sacha Baron Cohen. Or has Sacha Baron Cohen been around since the 90s? Maybe he has.
He was around in the 90s,
time.
Because this reminds me of something he would do because
Roadhouse.
it was like the weird accent and he's like playing up a thing. Yeah, he just wasn't naked.
Well, one thing that I caught that I never noticed before is when they ask him, do you have any experience with this? And he goes, well, I've seen a couple of movies.
Yeah,
I read a book.
He was also on
this.
SNL and played that character for a little bit.
Oh, okay.
In the 70s.
I thought he was an American hero in that role. I like that. Like out of all the funny little side bits, I thought he was the best.
Oh, the character was great.
Yeah, he was funny. I would have seen more of him. So we get introduced to Dr. Harvey and his daughter Kat. That's Bill Pullman and Christina Ricci's character.
I get it.
Oh yeah, that was in the movie.
You're a mean girl.
Mean girl. So Dr. Harvey is a paranormal psychologist because ghosts are stuck here due to unfinished business. In reality, though, he's just trying to get in touch with his late wife. That's what he's ultimately searching for in this. Casper starts with the actual Casper, the character, begins with the first thing where I go, what? He moves through electricity.
Yeah, through the power lines.
The physics of ghosts were all over the place in this movie. I'm like, sometimes you are like corporeal where you can move through things, and then sometimes you're not. And then sometimes you can move through electricity, and sometimes you can float a certain way, and then you can't. I'm like, none of it makes sense. Like, there's no. I need law. I need a law.
They
here.
can move through walls, but you swing a spatula and you'll knock them clear across the room.
Yeah, it just didn't make sense half the time. I'm like,
it's kind of like when Obi-Wan Kenobi chooses to cross over to the other side right after he dies.
Yeah.
Like if he didn't choose to do that, he would have just been a dead Jedi. But the fact that he actively chose to have that happen to him when he was aware of it, he was able to speak to Luke, and they were able to destroy the
ghost
Death Star.
Jedi.
Yeah.
So using the completely the Star Wars physics, which are accurate.
hey, those are accurate. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe the ghosts were just like, you know what? When we're surprised, we don't get to.
It's like an ability.
Choose this. Yeah, they have to focus on how they.
Okay, that makes sense.
Interesting. Okay, I'll buy it. I'll buy it. That's fine.
Yeah. I threw Obi-Wan Kenobi at you.
Yeah, if you're throwing Obi-Wan Kenobi at me, I can't really argue with that. So Dr. Harvey and Kat move to Friendship, Maine, where this house is.
I don't feel like there's a lot of friends there.
Me neither. No, not at all. I don't know why they even had that as a point.
This awesome town.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It was dumb. So they go to help get the ghosts out of Whipstaff. They're hired. And like every good 90s movie, the father and daughter have a cool handshake.
Oh, yeah, they do.
Yeah, it's like in Parent Trap, they have the cool handshake.
Why don't I remember this handshake?
So they did the thing.
Promise?
It's like the pinky promise, and then it's like the do 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 do. It was like a short thing, but yeah.
But it starts with the pinky promise.
It does, yeah. So I'm like, all right, that's a 90s movie trope right there. They get to the manor. Casper has the hots for Kat. Can I just say Casper was extremely creepy in this movie?
Casper is so creepy.
So creepy. He should not be this creepy.
He just wants a friend.
No, I think he wanted more than a friend.
He might become a Supreme Court justice soon.
Ooh, politics. Okay, Kat and Dr. Harvey meet Casper, and they freak out a little bit. And because they freak out, then Casper's uncles, as he called them, come out, and they do ghosty shenanigans.
Yeah,
Stretch, Stinky, and Fatso.
Yep.
Stretch, Stinky, and Fatso.
And do you know who voices Fatso? I found this cool.
It is the brother from Everybody Loves Raymond.
Yeah, Brad Garrett. Yeah, dude, Brad Garrett from Everybody Loves Raymond and a million other things. That guy is in so much stuff. He is the voice of Krang in the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, which is cool. He was in the Fargo TV show, which is like, I love that TV show. And then I think one of the most underrated sitcoms ever is Till Death. He was in that, and I loved that show when I was younger, and it lasted like 2 or 3 seasons. But he was the main character in it too.
Yeah, that
and
guy's great.
I like that. That guy, he cracks me up.
Who played Stinky and Stretch?
No one of note.
Okay.
Joe something, like Joe Natel. Yeah, hi.
Joe Pesci?
Yeah, Joe Pesci. No one of note.
That would have been funny.
No one of note, just
Crazy.
Andy Serkis and Joe Pesci.
Yeah, whatever.
No, the other two, I looked them up, and they had some other things of like one of the guys voiced Bugs Bunny in the 90s Looney Tunes remake, and then the other guy voiced some people in like Casper animated stuff afterwards and all that. So no one that really had anything too crazy going on. But this is where we start with all the puns and pop culture references. Like just this movie from this point on is littered with puns, and I thoroughly enjoyed that. Bill Pullman pulls a ghost with a plunger. I thought that was a cool thing.
Does.
Yeah, I thought that was cool.
Stretch, too.
Yeah, stretch with a plunger. That was great. And then he uses a vacuum as a weapon, which was kind of cool.
The best part is when he sucks in Stretch too. Stretch yells, "No, not from the nose."
Yeah. Oh, that was great. So the next morning, Kat goes to school, and this is where we meet the Mean Girls of Friendship, Maine, which cracked me up because we meet Mean Girl, and then we meet like hot guy that the girls like whatever, like the heartthrob.
Oh yeah, plaid shirt and striped shirt guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Stereotypical two blonde kids.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was confused because later on in the movie they form this alliance to like do some sabotage Kat or whatever.
Yeah, the party or
party.
whatever.
But the guy feels bad and is like, do we really have to do this? I'm like, what does she have on you that's forcing you to do this? Like, you are obviously not wanting, like, you're not a mean person and you don't want to do this.
Yeah.
So why is she able to force you?
Yeah, that's a good point.
That was weird to me. They never explained that. I need explanation. So anyway, Kat goes to school, and I found it hilarious because she meets these people for the first time in school, meets this teacher for the first time in school, and they're like, hey, we have a dance coming up. You have a big creepy house.
Let's go
We're just gonna go there. And she's like, okay. Like,
yeah.
Like, do people just invite themselves to your house? And not only is it just a party, like they had a DJ and multiple disco
elaborate.
balls. Like, it was an elaborate party.
That Jess pointed out when I was talking to her about it on the phone that like she didn't even set up for.
I
they
noticed
they
that
brought
exact
everything.
same thing.
Yeah.
And
I was like, there was no setup. The doorbell just rings, and we're like, we're here.
And talk about punctuality. They all showed up at the exact same moment. Like, what? That's crazy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, go for it.
Question, because we're right at this part of the movie. Do ghosts need to eat?
So,
And
I
what
don't-
were they were eating, like donuts and
yeah,
like
they were eating
Hostess cupcakes?
I think they don't need to eat, but I think that they're able to enjoy it, but it doesn't affect them, which is why they were able to eat all the junk food they wanted
And just went straight to the floor.
Yeah, and just be fine with it. But then that brings up the point that why is Fat so fat? Was he fat in his
must have
previous
life
life?
Yeah.
And that's due because Casper was a dead kid.
He was 12
And
years
so,
old.
and if that's his uncle's, which again, I guess in the animated cartoon before this that it was based off of, Casper and his uncles were from a ghost family.
Right.
They didn't get as morbid as this movie where it's like, no, this is a dead child
Yeah.
who's stuck.
got sick. And
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Which we'll get to that
and like
point.
died of exposure.
Yeah, we'll get to that point when we
Yeah.
get to it. But this movie actually was really morbid and had a lot of dark undertones for how much of a kid's movie it was supposed to be. But anyway, Casper doesn't remember his life, which I thought I was confused if that's a thing of ghosts. And we'll get into it later because Madison was saying, no, it's because he died so long ago he doesn't remember. But
I don't
later
think that's
on,
true.
someone else dies.
Yep.
So we'll just get into the spoiler real quick. The dad, Dr. Harvey, dies and becomes a ghost at some point, and he doesn't remember anything
Kat.
either. So I thought, okay, when you become a ghost, you don't remember your past life until it gets
be
jogged.
reminded
Because he
of it,
remembers later when Kat finds his old room and it
does-
jogs his memory.
Right. And then
here's-
they do the
They do,
shake.
yeah, and then the dad remembers because they do their handshake thing, handshake to the save, saves the day. Here's where that theory falls apart. Kerrigan becomes a ghost at one point
and
too,
instantly
and
remembers
she
everything.
remembers
Remembers the
everything because
treasure.
her point is that she wants to become a ghost to be able to steal the treasure and then become back and all that. Anyway, we're getting way ahead
Well,
here.
the first person she met was Dibs. After becoming the ghost, maybe
So you think maybe that jogged her memory?
Or
No, because
maybe-
when
or
she
maybe
died,
he-
remember she came up and was like, the bitch
Yeah.
is back, yeah. Like,
well, yeah, but maybe he was like, well, just to fill you in on a couple of things, we're trying to go steal this treasure over here.
Yeah, off screen. You can't have off screen exposition. It doesn't work. Okay, so anyway, Casper doesn't remember his life. Kat's like, oh, that's really, really sad. Kat helps him remember by finding his room and jogging his memory. And he remembers, hey, I wanted this sled real bad, and my dad got me this sled. And then I went outside and I used this sled, and he said, come in. And I was like, nah, a little bit longer. And then I stayed out too long, and I died from getting a cold in 1902.
He said, I got really sick,
Yeah.
and my dad got really sad.
Yep. So this kid died from getting a cold pretty much, and the dad blamed himself. And the reason Casper is still stuck around is because he says, unfinished business, I didn't want my dad to be lonely.
Yeah.
Which begs the question if his dad actually saw him. Because there's times where it was like made it seem like the dad didn't see him because there were newspapers were like, the inventor is crazed with creating a way.
Yeah.
I was like,
also, would you believe someone that like comes down like this inventor and he's just like, my dead son's hanging out with me? You'd be like, all right, get out of here.
Yeah.
Well, it even said that they were like deemed him insane. And
that's true. Like literally, your dead child pretty much brought you to insanity, which is insane. But out of this, he built a machine called the Lazarus. It's like the Lazarus pit. Like I love it. To bring him back. Now, so we have this segment where Casper remembers. He goes, "Let's go down to my dad's area," which was a hidden area, and he takes Kat down there, puts her in a seat, and it does this cool thing where it goes down and it goes through this machine where his dad didn't like getting ready in the morning, so it like shaves him and brushes his teeth and gets him dressed. Why have we lost our aspiration to create a machine that gets us ready in the morning? Because remember in like the 90s and the 80s, like that was the inventor thing. Every inventor created this thing that got you ready in the morning.
Or made you breakfast or poured your coffee for you while you were
Why
waiting.
don't we have this anymore?
Because we already have food bars. You grab one and you walk away.
That's true.
Right? Beards are in.
Beards are in, yes.
2, 3, counting's in also. 3, like, science focuses way more on boner pills and hair growth.
Yeah, I guess that's true. But I'm just sad that in movies, inventors aren't portrayed as people trying to make getting ready in the morning or easier anymore.
Well, I feel like that's now seen as like a little bit loony too, like a little off the
cheesy.
deep.
I don't know.
A little cheesier little.
That brought back more nostalgia for me than anything else in this movie. I'm like, remember when every inventor tried to make this?
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Yeah, exactly.
I want Casper to make me eggs and then turn his hand into a fork, though.
Yeah. The way he did
and
that.
just use that. Which also, when he was pouring her juice, he used his hand as like an ice
filter
to siphon the pulp out.
Siphon the pulp out, and also because he's cold to like cool it down for her. I'm
and
like,
then he just threw the pulp on the wall.
Yeah. Dirty. I could not live with Casper. Anyway, Casper's dad was an inventor, as we said. He has this machine called the Lazarus. He hid the button for the Lazarus in the Frankenstein book.
Which is awesome.
Yes, I love that. I thought that was a cool little nod, especially since this is a Universal movie. They're like, hey, let's throw some references into our Universal monsters. That's pretty cool. My question is, they have one vial of what I call resurrection juice
left,
but why didn't they use this before he died? Like, why is there only one left? And why didn't the dad use this to bring Casper back before he died?
Maybe he died prematurely.
But I'm just like, so I in my alternate universe theory here, I think this is the same guy who created Edward Scissorhands, because he does not know how to manage time. Neither one of them knew how to manage time when they invented things. Like, funny. I'm just so confused of why you have only one vial of resurrection juice. Like, why didn't you make a million of them? And why you didn't use this machine earlier if it works? Because it's in working condition. They didn't have to do anything but push a button to get this thing to work.
That's true.
So I'm just like, I don't buy it. I'm leaving here with all my money.
Like Kerrigan and Dibbs looking for the treasure, they found it. That machine and that resurrection juice was the treasure.
So why are
they had the resurrection juice like outside of the house and everything. They had possession of it. They should have just booked it.
No,
and
that wasn't the treasure. The treasure was a signed Duke Snyder ball.
Yeah,
which is so cool.
Yeah, you knew that was coming. You knew it was going to be something that wasn't like a treasure to most
he's
people.
Like, he's my favorite pitcher. I was like, dude, yeah, he should be.
Which, this also brings up another question to me. If this inventor could create this, because what was that, like the 1920s or the 1930s? Like when was that supposed to be around?
Well, Casper supposedly died in like 05?
Okay, so
1905,
early 1900s. If this inventor dude could come up with a resurrection machine back then, how have our scientists today not been able to do it with like the scientific advancents we've had?
His research died with them. Maybe he was like drafted or something.
He was using alchemy maybe, and we just don't believe in that anymore.
No.
Yeah. So weird. Anyway, so Kerrigan and Dibbs see this and they come up with this idea that, hey, if one of us dies, we can go into the vault and get the treasure out as a ghost and then resurrect ourselves. So they steal the resurrection juice, and then they get into this death becomes her type of battle where it's like they both don't want to be the one to die, so they both try and kill each other to make the other one.
Right.
It ends with Kerrigan getting in a car accident, but she lives, and she's like, oh, and she steps out of the car and falls off a cliff.
Yeah, that was great.
So that was great. And then she comes back as a ghost, and she goes in.
Big ghost.
Yeah, really
she's a
big
big
ghost.
old ghost.
Yeah, I was like, how are you this big? What is going on here? So Kerrigan comes in. She steals the treasure. She's going to resurrect herself. And then they pull a fast one on her. They go, oh, you can only be a ghost here if you have unfinished business. And she goes, I have my treasure. I have this. Everything is perfect. She got what she wanted because she's greedy.
She's like, I have no unfinished business.
Yeah, and so she moved on to the afterlife. So I think she killed Dibs before that too.
Oh no, yeah,
she like hit him out of a window.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure he died.
You have a flight to catch and kicks him through a window.
Yeah,
and Jess said it's her favorite line where he's like, "I'm gonna get a little dog, and little bitch just like you."
Yeah, call her Kerrigan.
Yeah, call her Kerrigan, a bitch just like you.
Yeah,
that's what Jess said her favorite line was, and then she goes, and you've got a flight to catch. Boom, and then kicks him out a window.
Yeah, I love that they were like, you know what, we need to be a little bit more edgier. Throw bitch in there 3 times.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's what they did. Yeah, so that was great. So both of them are dead and gone now. So now, during all of this. Plot B that we've kind of just neglected is Dr. Harvey has been having sessions with the uncles and hasn't been getting anywhere with it. So the uncles are like, let's take him to happy hour. So they go to a bar and get they get wasted.
Yeah.
And this is a great PSA in here for don't drink too much, kids, because you'll die.
You'll get killed by ghosts.
You'll fall into a trench, an open trench, and die if you get too drunk.
Just know, kids, you'll have a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah. Which I'm also like, why was there a giant open trench in front of the exit and entrance to a bar?
Did you also notice that there was no one else in this bar except for one person who was passed out asleep on the table?
Yeah. So
it was probably the director.
Dr. Harvey ends up dying because he drank too much and he fell into a pit. So he comes back now and it's like, I am a ghost. So now there's a moral dilemma because there's only enough juice for one person and Casper was going to use it, but Dr. Harvey's dead. Dr. Harvey doesn't remember Kat, and they got to do their cool little handshake. So Kat's like, remember, boo. Yeah, okay.
Dr. Harvey was a funny ghost, too.
He was a funny ghost. He was, he was going to fit in perfect. He still had the glasses.
Yeah.
Was like,
and he had like his green
sweater vest. Yeah, it was great. I loved it. No one else was wearing clothes as a ghost except for him. Oh, I guess Kerrigan did, too.
Yeah.
I also liked earlier in the movie when Fatso, they trick Dr. Harvey into thinking that he's going to see his wife, and then it's just Fatso, but he has the biggest boobs I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, like so ridiculous. But anyway, Casper decides to sacrifice what he wants, and he decides, no, we'll bring Dr. Harvey back. So Dr. Harvey gets resurrected. I'm like, what was that like coming back? That machine's probably crazy.
Also, in the meantime, the party has started at the house.
The party has started. They all showed up, like we said, at the same time. They got the party ready. It has started.
Yeah.
So now
all of this is happening like under the house.
Yeah, exactly. So and no one can tell. Although I think that there was like an earthquake at one point, and like everyone in the party was like, "Whoa!" And then they're like, "Keep partying."
They heard Kerrigan's like laugh.
That's what it was. Yeah,
that's right.
So kids are partying. Then we go, finally, the dad's back. Everything's fine. Casper's kind of bummed. They go, Dr. Harvey's like, go enjoy your party. So Kat goes up to enjoy her party. And Kat's mom comes back as an angel to Casper and is like, hey.
In red.
Yeah, you did a great thing. I'm going to let you be a human for one night. And he's like, oh, till midnight like Cinderella? And she's like, no, till 10. And it's like
12.
Yeah, but it's also like 9:55 p.m. because he was only a human for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, what a tease. You're a jerk, woman. Like,
yeah, she is a jerk.
That's worse than not being at all.
Also, how weird is it that Casper was like, yo, you need a costume? Wear my dead mom's wedding dress.
And first off, that she thought that was a cool costume
and
to
she's
begin
like,
with.
oh, awesome.
This is the best costume. It's not a costume.
Not even a costume.
Yeah,
I'm
like,
just wearing like a wedding dress with like
what
Doc
the heck?
Martens.
Yeah. So Casper continues his creepiness and comes down and dances with her, but they dance while floating, so he still has his ghostly abilities or something.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that part.
Yeah.
That was weird.
Weird.
Hang on, did we gloss over the whole "can I keep you" part?
He
Oh my
asked
gosh.
that at the beginning. Can I
I
keep
forgot
you?
all about that. Yeah,
Which
that is
is
creepy.
Which
While
is
she's
part-
falling asleep, he hovers over her and whispers into her ear, "Can I keep you?"
Yes. And then that's
And
what he says.
And then he like kisses her and she goes, "Casper, can you close the window? It's cold."
Yeah.
And then he curls up at her feet like a dog.
Yeah. But then that's what he says to let
He
her
did
know.
crawl.
Yeah.
He did like
That's
curl
her.
up in a
Yeah.
little ball at her
So-
feet like a
Yeah,
dog.
and then while they're sky dancing, he goes, "Can I keep you?" And she's like,
It's
"Casper?"
Casper, yeah.
And she's like totally okay with it.
Does that mean she remembers him whispering that while she was sleeping?
Yeah, and she was fine with it.
Well, it's just so weird to me because he says very creepy things and he proves to her right away that he can be invisible.
Yeah,
I
and he
would
also
not want to be there.
And he also doesn't care about consent.
Boundaries.
Because
No,
he grabs her by
obviously.
the foot and drags her outside. She's like, Casper, no.
Yeah.
No. So he chucks her and picks her up dressed as like Super Casper and then like takes her to a lighthouse.
Yeah.
He had no boundaries at all.
No.
It's too much. And
Following her to school?
maybe
Yeah.
Maybe in 1995 before the Monica Lewinsky scandals, this was fine. But in our day and age,
We have standards.
we have standards now. You cannot do these things.
Something else that actually really that I thought of while watching this, when Kat discovers like that fun room with all his like toys and everything, Casper's been living in this house for almost a century.
Yeah, about that
And
point, 90 years.
how does he not know about certain rooms that are in the house?
Also, when she walked into it, it was really dirty.
And when
like an hour later, it was pristine. And I was like, can she come clean my house?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Could she build a little tiny toy Ferris wheel in my bedroom?
Yeah, I want one of
or
those.
get the train going around.
Yeah, that choo-choo is pretty sick.
Can we just say, too, that Casper was obviously a spoiled rich kid as a child?
Yeah.
And the train's name was Hootie.
Hootie.
Yeah.
Love Hootie. Who names a well, Thomas the Train, I guess. Okay, never mind. I'll retract that statement.
Nonetheless, that was how it was marketed. This is the train's name.
Yeah.
He named it Hootie.
So maybe that's Hootie and the Blowfish.
That's where their
where it
name
came
came
That's
from.
where the name came from. They were big advocates of Casper.
They loved it.
Although I think they
They
were
were
around
way
before
before
Casper.
Casper.
You know that Hootie and the Blowfish song, Can I Keep You?
Love it. So the
Hootie and
mom
Blowfish
goes.
song, bitch.
The mom goes to Dr. I almost said Dr. Pullman.
Yeah, Dr.
Pullman goes to him and is like, "Hey, you're doing a good job. I'm gonna creepily watch down on you from now on. Don't be too hard on our daughter.
Don't make your daughter wear a T-shirt under her bathing suit.
Yeah.
Don't
Which-
listen to her phone calls.
Which they were trying to like say Christina Ricci's character was like 12 years old, and I'm like, she's like 16.
She's like, 15,
She was like way older than
Yeah,
what they were
yeah.
trying to pass her off as. I was like, So
We're not buying it.
yeah, not buying it. So anyway, that's pretty much how the movie ends. The movie ends with the singing number, a musical number where they're
Which
singing
was
Casper.
weird.
Yeah, like all the kids leave because they freak out because they see the ghost. Like Casper turns back into a ghost, and then everyone runs away. Which I'm like, that's great for Kat's social life moving forward.
Yeah.
And then they start singing a song that's like, I guess the opening to the Casper cartoon or something. I don't know. I've never heard it. I never watched Casper.
The friendly ghost.
Casper was
the
also.
friendliest ghost I know.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's it.
Casper was also a comic in the same comic company that did classics as Richie Rich.
Oh, okay. The
Yeah.
animation style's
Yeah,
identical.
exactly. So those were all the same thing.
I will say this is the weirdest movie about a mattress company I've ever seen.
That's
funny.
I didn't know Casper was a mattress company until like a month ago.
Yeah.
You know what's funny about that? I remember thinking this while watching the movie as well. When Kat first moves into the house and she first finds her room and she like jumps on the bed to like go to sleep and Casper like sneaks his way in to become the pillow.
Yeah.
Does she not realize that she didn't have a pillow
I know,
before
right?
and then she was like
There was no
punching it
pillow
trying
there?
to make it like fluff
Yeah.
it up or whatever? And like, how do you not realize that you did not have a pillow just a second ago?
I also had a question too about this because Casper's lived there because his dad lived there, like his family lived there.
Yeah, how did the uncles get there?
Well, the uncles, one, how did they get there and what's their story? Two, does that mean Kerrigan is related to Casper? Because Kerrigan's father left it to her in the will. How did he get it?
That is
Because you would imagine
interesting.
it was a family manor.
He could have bought it.
He could have, but
from
why
the
would he
owner?
have?
Yeah, why would it? It was
Everything-
already condemned.
Yeah, and everything that spoke about him was that he was a humanitarian for dogs. I guess
And
not a humanitarian.
dolls.
He was a
He's a humanitarian
Yeah, he
for
was an
dogs?
animalanitarian. He was a philanthropist for animals.
He was a furry.
Yeah, he was a furry.
furry.
Yeah, he was the first ever furry. So I'm like, is Kerrigan related to Casper? That's my big question.
Could be.
Yeah, there's a
I
chance.
say yes.
Why were they allowed to live there if it was condemned?
I don't think it was condemned. I think it was just abandoned.
No, Ben Stein said it.
Oh, it's condemned?
Yeah.
Oh, you know why it was condemned? Because no one turned on the circuit
Electrical?
breaker. Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, and Kat goes down there. Oh, we're gonna need 20s. We'll get them in the morning.
And they never did.
Nope.
I want to see that. So yeah, this movie was actually pretty morbid when you get down to it, but it had a light-heart tone trying to pass
did.
itself off as not being morbid.
Yeah.
But
definitely had a light heart.
What did you guys think? Did it wreck your childhood?
I genuinely, I don't think I've seen this since it came out in theaters.
Yeah, me neither.
And so I had like a weird memory. I had a memory of the weird uncle ghosts. I didn't even remember what the girl looked like. I didn't remember the whole like machine. Like I don't remember any of it.
Yeah,
And
I didn't remember that plot point.
It was fun to watch because I was like, oh cool, yeah, sounds familiar. But the part that wrecked my childhood is that like I was fed lines like, "Can I keep you?" as normalcies in the way that you interact with human people.
True.
So,
No, it's true.
Yeah, I thought that was weird.
Not a good way to teach your children.
And that isn't really persistent as much in cinema anymore.
Yeah.
It's still there, but not as much.
Yeah. How about you, Joe?
It was exactly as I remembered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you watch it a lot when you were younger?
I'd seen it a couple times. I wouldn't say a lot, but I had definitely seen it a couple times. But it was exactly how I remembered it.
Because I found out that my wife Madison, she had watched it a bunch. Like she actually knew what parts were coming up.
Like,
She had watched
I had
it
the
so much as a
VHS.
kid. See, so when I talked about Casper, I always thought Hilary Duff was the Casper movie I saw. I found out in my research.
Casper Meets Wendy.
Yes,
Yeah.
Hilary Duff
Wait a
wasn't
minute,
even.
that is a movie?
Yeah, Hilary Duff played Wendy the Good Witch.
I feel like I know this.
And the only movie, and she was in a movie where Casper meets Wendy, because Wendy the Good Witch was another like animated series that was owned by the same company. I always thought that was just a straight Casper movie, and I was like, oh, I saw the TV
crossover.
version with Hilary Duff, which it was the TV version, but it wasn't like a Casper only.
Yeah, I thought that was a Casper only movie until just now.
Yeah, I didn't know it was a crossover.
Wow.
Wendy the Good Witch had her own movie, Casper had his own movie, and then they did a movie where they crossed over.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I remembered this. I like when this won, I was like, "Oh, cool, Hilary Duff as a kid." And then I saw it was like Christina Ricci, and I'm like,
You were like, whoa, Winona Ryder?
what?
What's
Yeah,
going
Winona
on?
Ryder. What is she doing in this movie?
Were the uncles in Casper Meets Wendy?
I don't remember. I think we have our next one we got to watch now. Casper
Yeah.
Meets Wendy. So I have some fun facts for you guys.
Let's do it.
I'll tell
Fun
you.
facts.
So this didn't really wreck my childhood because I don't remember that. I think we should keep that as a soundbite for every time we do fun facts now. I like that. So the dude, get your laughs out.
Yeah.
The dude who did who played Casper when he was a human actually for 5 minutes. His name is Devin Saya.
Yeah, he played Junior in Little Giants.
Yeah, so he was a pretty big actor back then. He's in Dead Punks and all that. He's like in a bunch of movies and whatnot. But him and Christina Ricci were love interests in another movie called Now and Then in the 90s. Never heard of it. Never seen it. He also was in a movie with Bill Pullman. He loved the cast in that movie, I guess.
Casper?
His Casper. He loved that. So when we were talking about Kat like being pulled out of the window and floating, they used fishing line for that to make Kat look like she floats. So that's kind of fun.
Fishing line,
Yeah, that
interesting.
sounds like a half-brained idea
So
that
they
does
Wile E.
not sound
Coyote would
safe.
do. Yeah,
Yeah, that's not safe.
yeah. I'm like,
I'm gonna
okay,
dangle a miner by fishing line.
yeah, not good.
She's light enough.
Yeah,
Oh,
she's
it's
fine.
fine.
It's fine.
The girl who played the mean girl,
Yeah, she looked familiar.
she's in Boy Meets World.
Yes.
And was Corey's girlfriend, like in like
Yes.
the early seasons before him and Topanga
Yeah,
were.
she wasn't the girl that was with him in the ski lodge, was she?
No,
No,
that's
okay.
that is the girl from Freaks and Geeks and Grandma's Boy.
Oh, Hawkeye's wife, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, you're right.
Yeah, I forget her name off the top of my head, but yes,
Yeah, I did
know who
too.
you're talking about. Isn't her name like Apple something in it too?
I don't
Not
think so.
Applegate, but like Applebee.
Applebee's.
I'm really hungry.
I am too. Let's get some food after this.
So
Let's do it.
So this movie was the first movie with a computer animated main character in it, and honestly, the graphics still hold up enough.
Yeah, they're not terrible.
because
Not at all.
they look cartoonish.
And that's what makes it work.
Exactly. It doesn't look like it looks like the Looney Tunes like Space Jam
Yeah.
type thing
Yeah.
almost.
Parts
Yeah,
that were
they did it
lame was
well.
like when he poured the coffee in like a shot in like a straight line.
Yeah.
That looked a little.
It looked bad, but
Yeah.
like the actual figures were totally
Oh,
fine because
they
they
were
were
great.
just like playful cartoon characters.
Yeah, it
I think
holds
it was
up.
smart that part of like you can see the white, but the back of their heads were like completely see through.
Yeah, still transparent.
It was
Like,
it was
yeah.
done
Cool.
very well
Yeah.
to the point where if those effects came out today, I would be okay with it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Did you guys know that Steven Spielberg was an executive producer on this?
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, not
yeah,
at all.
Did you know that he was supposed to have a cameo in that scene with Clint Eastwood and everything, but they cut him?
Really?
Really?
Yeah, which he was totally cool with. With the interview I was reading and stuff, he was like, I don't really enjoy acting anyway, and I don't feel comfortable on screen. So he was like, I was totally fine with it being cut. But they said they cut it because of a pacing issue. I'm like, so 3 seconds Like what made you think like, oh, we cut 3 seconds of Steven Spielberg out in this scene that's literally just meant to have cameos in it, and that'll change the pacing? I'm like, I don't know. That seems a little weird to me. But yeah, he was supposedly in it.
Well, I had always assumed, even when I was a kid, when I watched this, I had always assumed that the 3 cameos were supposed to represent the 3 ghosts that were in there, and then the Crypt Keeper was all 3 of them together.
So Rodney, wow, that's reading really far into it. So Rodney Dangerfield would have been Fatso. Mel Gibson would have been
like Stinky, probably.
Stinky, and then Stretchy would have been Clint Eastwood, because Clint Eastwood stretches his face out. He's like, "Oh, you punk."
Yeah, see, as a kid, I'd always thought that, and then the Crypt Keeper was all of them.
Interesting. That's pretty cool.
Way to be more clever than Jordan and I put
together.
together.
I would have never put that together.
Yeah, I was just thinking it was like, oh, time for some weird stuff.
Yeah, me too. I was like, hey, remember that really creepy scene with the mirror in Poltergeist where he rips his face off? Let's do something fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So J.J. Abrams was an uncredited writer on this. They gave him the script and he rewrote a bunch of it.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was back. It was pretty much his first introduction to Steven Spielberg.
This is like very early for him.
He had done one movie at this point. I forget what movie it was, but it was like one of his early ones. And this was the first time he met Steven Spielberg. And then we now know that him and Steven Spielberg have done quite a few projects together. Yeah. And then there was, I don't know if you guys remember this, because I don't remember this when I was in the mid 90s at Universal Studios theme parks. There was like a really big Casper area that had a set of the Whipstaff Manor that you could walk through and stuff.
That would have been cool.
And like tons of memorabilia. I don't remember this, and I know I went to Universal in Florida when I was around that age. I don't remember it.
Yeah, I didn't. I remember I had like toys of Stinky Fatso.
I think I did too. Like they were McDonald's toys or something. Yeah.
Huh. But I don't remember ever going to Universal to see that.
Yeah, I don't remember that being a thing. But yeah, that's all my fun facts there. I have my Hillary Duff fact I said already, where it's the Mandela effect, I guess, that I made for myself, my own Mandela effect. But yeah, I think to just kind of top it off, the effects were really good in this movie. Yeah. I think that it looks a little dated, just the dialogue and the tropes that were in it. I gave it a 5 out of 10. It wasn't. It kept me interested the whole movie, but it's not one where I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go back and watch that every year or show my kid that. And I think it's more because I don't have a nostalgia for it.
Because you only saw it
because
once.
I only saw it like once and I didn't really remember it. And I just feel like when dialogue gets outdated, that's the worst part. Like, I am more forgiving with graphics being outdated, but when it's like creepy, weird dialogue or things,
you didn't like Sunny Side Up makes me yak.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah. Things like that. I'm like,
I love that.
Okay, and they literally put that in there just so when they go back and he turns into a Sunny Side.
Oh yeah.
Egg, it's
so
like
she
a
doesn't.
thing.
Yeah, because I like droops.
I know. I'm like, I don't know. I just feel like there were some things where I'm like, okay, the writing dates it, and that's about it. So yeah, a 5 out of 10. Wasn't terrible. Wasn't great.
I think I would give it better than that.
Really? What would you give it? A 5.8.
And it was somewhere like 6.5.
Yeah,
6
I was
and 7.
Say I'm in between a 6 and a 7.
Yeah, because, I don't know.
I mean, you're watching Casper. You're obviously not going in thinking you're gonna witness the best movie.
True.
But I mean, it held its own. It was entertaining at parts. It flowed nicely. There
I
weren't
did laugh at a few parts.
Moments where it was like dull or anything.
True.
I will say I brewed beer the entire time I watched it.
Oh wow, there you go.
So
your next beer.
It's a good beer brewing movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think maybe what skewed it for me is I watched Cabin in the Woods directly right after, and that's an amazing movie. So maybe that skewed me down a little bit because I watched like this awesome horror film right after watching Casper. I don't know. But anyway, that's Casper, the friendly ghost. Casper, the friendly ghost. Casper, he's a friendly ghost. He's a ghost that's friendly with the most.
Why are we making this into Wayne's World?
Casper,
party time.
Friendly ghost. Party on. Make some eggs.
Not Sunny Side Up.
So that's Casper. So let's plug it up real quick here.
Okay.
Here, give me a quick plug thing.
Plug it up.
I love it. So we are...
Do it again. I'll do a high-pitched one with you. Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Plug it up.
That was great. That was so like 80s metal.
Dude, I am pulling that out. That is going to be our plug moment. I really need some sound bites now.
Yeah.
We're totally doing
soundboard.
That. Yeah, we're going to do a little soundboard. I love it. So what in Family Guy, what was that thing called? And the Jackal. You remember it was
weenie in the butt.
Yeah, weenie in the butt. It's weenie in the butt in the morning. Anyway, we are on Instagram and Twitter at WreckMyPodcast. You can also shoot us an email at wreckmypodcast@gmail.com. We are on all major podcasting apps and on YouTube, so go rate, review, and subscribe on that. We have a Patreon, as we mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Patreon.com/WreckMyPodcast. This is where you can financially help us and get some rewards. Yeah, support us. Support. And I think we have one more week. Where you are saying, Cam, that if anyone goes to any tier, you will draw them something.
Yeah, this is our spooky October Halloween special. If you select any tier on our Patreon to contribute, that's even like $1, right? I will draw you for this month a spooky thing of your choice.
And if you've seen our Pokemon episode, you've seen some of Cam's drawings.
That's true.
And they are great.
Yeah, they're funny.
Thank you. So my quick little doodles.
I still love the trash bag from the Brave Little Toaster.
Oh my gosh, that was so awesome.
Trubbish.
So yeah, go check us out on our Patreon there and get some cool rewards like that. And also, if you want, there's some other rewards on there. I forget what they are off the top of my head.
There's like shout outs. You can you can ask us a question.
Yeah, video question.
There's
ask
also
us
like
something.
pick a theme too.
Choose a topic.
Ooh,
I think
like
in the $20 tier where you get one of your drawings, I also put in there a fun little item every month too. So
cute.
Just random something fun that I'm gonna throw in there.
Wreck My Podcast loot crate.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is.
I thought you were gonna say lube.
Wreck My Podcast lube, dude. If we're gonna license anything, lube.
Yeah, just go straight for lube.
Straight for it. Yeah. So that's our Patreon pitch. Thank you guys for being here, watching that movie, talking about it.
Get us to the point where we can afford to make a Wreck My Podcast lube.
Yeah. If we get to that point, we made it. So thank you guys for being here, and thank you to our listeners, because without you, we would just be a sad group of friends talking about a friendly ghost. Bye.
Bye. I love you.
That's not what we are?